And we do welcome back Coptic minister Lori France from North Carolina tonight, retired Mott Community College teacher from Flint, Michigan, back years ago. Resides, as I just mentioned, in North Carolina now. Having spent 20 years in the Michigan school system as a high school teacher, community college instructor as well, and she studied metaphysics quite a bit. In the mid-'80s it started more so, and became a Coptic minister in 2007. She facilitates daily study groups via email on A Course in Miracles, which she's very big on. If you had an invite recently for her course, you might want to still consider that, and she would welcome you into that. I think it's just getting underway now. She continues to study non-dualism and the meaning of oneness for many traditions and thoughts as well. There are no accidents is her topic tonight.
So there are no accidents. So this wasn't an accident either, guys. And of course, you've all heard the phrase over and over by now, that there are no accidents. And so let's just take a little look at what does that mean exactly. And so let's take something really simple, like you're walking through your house and you stub your toe on something. Was that an accident? I guess that it couldn't have been, as there are no accidents, right? So was it a message, a reminder? Perhaps a reminder to be more conscious of your every move, or something else? If everything is a lesson, a form of guidance, then every accident must be a lesson, something for you to learn and pay attention to. And so now here we go, because again, what I had done was go through Hamid Bey's lessons, and this is our wonderful teacher, Hamid Bey, as Rose has already shared with us, says this over and over multiple times throughout the lessons, that there are no accidents. So here we go. For instance, in lesson 35, Let the Future Stand Revealed, he says, are we sufficiently trained to direct our life aright? If we are not trained, why not train ourselves? Why not learn the first lesson? The first lesson, which is life in itself is not an accident. So, wow, okay. Life in itself is not an accident. And then he says, life is well planned and regulated. Nothing happens haphazardly, not even an auto accident. When we get into a trying situation or real trouble, it is because we have transgressed a law. Probably we were unaware of the law, but the penalty has to be paid just the same. So it is not God that punishes us. We punish ourselves. So what does he mean? We punish ourselves. And what is this law that we have transgressed? It's a good question, and I think we need an answer. So to help us understand this, in lesson 25, The Power of Love, he makes the answer very clear in the section titled Law of Harmony. And he says, in accordance with the law of creation, everything and everyone must be in harmony. All the planets in the entire solar system move in rhythmical order. There is no confusion. We contend there is no such thing as an accident. While an accident is not a spiritual premeditation, it is the result of man's limited reasoning. Therefore, I must definitely conclude that accidents have their source in mental premeditation. For example, when we fail to apply the spiritual principle in our everyday life, we upset the scale of balance and set forces into motion against us because we oppose ourselves to the spiritual principle which governs us. while we may not be aware of the existence of spiritual law and profess innocence in whatever adversities befall us, yet we must realize that there is just cause even though we fail to recognize it. Okay, so this might seem a little puzzling that we punish ourselves because we are not following or living in the law of harmony. But for further clarification, he adds, for example, we may one day find ourselves sick. We cry and we say we need help. We even pray to God, and that is the way that God calls us back. We strayed from his principle in some way by doing wrong. And this might be like maybe we didn't eat properly or not thinking properly. Thus, we removed ourselves from the rhythm of love and became estranged. So we must often suffer so that we may awaken and return to the house of God or love. Many people have received great realization after a great deal of suffering, and that is so true. Many people will just wake up after they have suffered a lot, and they begin to realize that they are causing their own suffering. So in our ignorance, we suffer, perhaps become sick, but we can eventually recognize that we have not been thinking properly and not living according to the law of harmony and love. So that's the law of harmony and love. And Hamid Bey makes this even more clear in lesson 299 in a section called No Change Can Be Accomplished Until You Change Your Thought Pattern in Your Subconscious Mind. And in this lesson, he says, the positivity or the negativity of your thinking is the master or disaster key, which makes you as you are. So let me repeat that. The positivity or the negativity of your thinking is the master or disaster key, which makes you as you are. And he adds, you are not as you are by mere accident. You do not have what you want or do not want by accident. You are happy or unhappy, not by accident. You can make yourself happy or unhappy, as it depends on the type of thoughts you are harboring in your mind. We should accept that responsibility, for the sooner we do, the better it will be. Happiness is always dwelling within us, for God, or love, dwells within us and reflects in thoughts and actions in accordance with the thoughts dwelling in our minds. So let's pause and think about that. We always have the joy and happiness of God or love within us, and we feel that or not, according to the thoughts in our mind. So he continues. We should allow the Spirit to move freely through us, for the closer we are to him, the more we allow the Spirit to express through us. We must accept this responsibility of working with God, love, so that we unfold and develop. As we unfold and reach out, we will comprehend more and more of the invisible world. God does not give us anything. We must work for it. We mold our lives according to our ability and comprehension of his laws. So, gives us a huge question, each one of us, to ask ourselves. Is your mind projecting thoughts of love and harmony? Or is your mind operating in the vibration of negativity and fear, thus creating your punishment? And this next message from Hamid Bey is from Lesson 82, which has an interesting title, Your Role in the Coming Age and Your Security. And he says, you are witnessing something wonderful, as well as something ugly sometimes. You are witnessing both sides. You will witness the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. You must have chosen to be born as to be living now, for everything is maintained by exacting law. Your birth, your death, happens as a result of causes. You were born because you wanted to be born and chose your parents. You were born here because you have something which you wanted to do. You were not brought here by force. Your birth entails reincarnation and karma. And the incarnation of a human soul is premeditated and computed better than by any machine. I do not believe there is any such thing as an accident. And so there it is. He says it again. We chose our path. And so as we did, you were born, you chose your parents, and there is something you came here to do or to learn. And not by accident, but as part of your karma. We have a role to play here. And how it all rolls out depends on our thoughts, our thinking positively or negatively. And then to further clarify this, Hamid Bey adds in lesson 214, nothing happens by accident. With our mind, we calibrate the type of vibration on different levels. So we believe the purer the vibration, the more powerful it is. The more powerful it is, the more it will kill the enemy, which causes disruption in any part of the physical body. Now, the enemy that Hamid Bey is talking about here is disease, ailments. And he adds, the less we believe, the weaker the vibration is. So it is clearly seen that in order to cure an ailment, we must be inspired to a high degree, maintain that degree of vibration, and then project and put it to work positively. There is a great difference between wanting to believe and believing. It is the genuineness of the belief which performs the miracle. So interesting. We must believe in order to create a positive vibration. So miracles in the body and miracles everywhere in the world are due to our vibration. The higher the vibration, the better. And our thoughts are so important. Our thoughts create positive vibrations around us or negative vibrations. So again, our thoughts and our actions, which are based on our thoughts, create our karma. So with karma, we are looking at our past, our thoughts of yesterday. And in lesson 249, Soul and Ego, Hamid Bey says, the value of yesterday, the value of your past is not the experience itself. It is the good you receive because of that experience. You may experience having an accident and finding yourself in a hospital bed, which is considered a bad experience. But look at it closer and ferret out the cause or causes in order to prevent another similar experience. The lesson you learn from this analysis will be beneficial and worth remembering. Today is the key of our tomorrow. It is a wise person who uses to open the door to a better tomorrow. And how do we open that door? By creating a better tomorrow with our thoughts. And that key is the vibration created by our thoughts and our actions. And what we experience, like having an accident, these are all lessons that we can learn from. So we are creating positive experiences or negative experiences. So which is it you want to do? And finally, in lesson 279, subconscious programming, Hamid Bey adds, this means that if we keep love in our heart at all times, we will experience peace, happiness, and harmony. For the infinite laws of our being are love and beauty. Therefore, we must always use this spiritual law as God meant it to be used, by thinking positively, by not letting fear of any description enter our consciousness, for it will be outpictured as our mind directs. For we enter into a mental magnetic state of mind which creates the condition. There is no such thing as an accident, because everything comes from idea seeds, and nothing is allowed to happen devoid of an idea. And so he's just said it again. There is no such thing as an accident, and we are planting seeds with our thoughts. And that's a great analogy. So be these conscious or subconscious thoughts, these seeds will grow according to what we plant. So if we want peace, happiness, and harmony, plant these seeds and not the seeds of negativity and fear. Believe in love and harmony, and you will create that. This is such a great message and a wonderful directive about how we should live our lives with our thoughts, planting seeds of peace and happiness and harmony. So I hope this all makes sense, and that we move forward in our lives in peace and harmony, and that we cease punishing ourselves with thoughts of fear and negativity, but instead focus on the happiness that is our gift, as we are all part of God, Source, Love. And now to wrap this up, and for a fun reminder, let's take a look at a short 3-minute video from the animated film Kung Fu Panda. And so, in the words of Master Oogway, there are no accidents. So, Alan, are you ready? Okay, great. Thank you, Alan. So, just checking in with everybody here. Can you look back at your life and see there are no accidents? Does that make sense? I see some nods. Does anybody have something they would like to add to that in terms of maybe something that's happened with you that's not an accident?
This didn't happen to me, but if anybody watches Frasier, it was the funniest part was when Frasier got oil, when his dad got oil on his carpet, and Frasier is a shrink, and he goes, "There are no accidents. You did it on purpose," to his dad. So then when his dad's favorite chair fell off the balcony, his dad turns to him and goes, there. He said, it was an accident, Dad. And he said, there are no accidents. And I think that's the perfect illustration for no accidents.
That's, I don't know, if you think back about your life, at least for me, it's every person, especially people you consider important in your life, life partners or whatever, the way you met them, when you met them, everything seems to be it's just all unrolling. It's just there because it was meant to be. It's nothing is just just what a coincidence is. There are no coincidences. There are no accidents. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I was just going to say, I can definitely remember a lot of times when equipment doesn't work when I'm in a bad mood, but then when I can change my mood into something better, it just magically works better again.
A lot of people, Laurie, have this struggle, that phrase, nothing happens to you, everything happens for you and through you. The ego part of us has a hard time with that. And we need somebody to blame, somebody to point the finger at. And if we're not doing it to somebody else, we're usually ultimately doing it to ourselves. And when we have that blame or shame or whatever, I think that's the biggest barrier to really looking at and ultimately learning the lesson, the opportunity from that tragedy, if you will.
Yes.
The dichotomy of that is also there are no accidents and everything is a miracle. So one way or another.
May not look like it at the time, but I think when we look back at our lives, and the older we get, the further back we can look. It seems just very much that it was all meant to be. It all happened on purpose, and it was all a lesson. And whatever happened, happened because it was part of our life, part of what was meant to be.
As a gentleman I know, when I used to live in Illinois, and I can't recall his name right now, but an incredible story. He lost his wife to I believe she had cancer. And then about 2 years later, 2.5 years later, he lost a son to a disease as well. And then 3 or 4 years later, he had another major tragedy. And over the course of time in his own healing journey, now he's written several books, and he has a lot of workshops and grief on and seminars and stuff on moving through grief. And he's quite an inspiration of how within these tragedies, how he was able to just make something out of it in a wonderful way, and not only help himself, but helping a lot of other people. And he often talks about, that phrase at the time, understandably, it seemed like the worst thing that could possibly happen, but how he's turned it into a wonderful gift and opportunity. And so I think that reinforces that there is an intended purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Lori,
One of the ways that I interpret that, what you're talking about, David, is that sometimes when we have a big purpose in life, we're given those challenges to develop our skills and abilities so that we can meet that purpose. It's kind of like basic training in the military. You go through hell, but it prepares you for what you need to be able to do.
Yeah. Very true. Yep.
Yep.
A really good example of that is I'm reading right now Michael Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment. And in that, he just details his life and all of the things that happened to him. And it would just what you're saying right now, it's perfect. It's a perfect example of how everything that was going on with him was just meant to be, and developed him into the person that he is today, and the influence that he is able to have on the rest of us because of his wonderful.
Mm-hmm. And I'll just pipe up that, oftentimes when I say I was widowed at 49, all of the woe be and everybody tries to pile that sympathy. And I'm like, no, wait a minute, 20 years out of it, it's like that was one of the, it was hell, but it was also so strengthening in so many ways. And then, of course, then I get to sit here with David, and, it was no accident when we, met each other in France, but it's a pretty neat story to know you. I had just finished massage school that had given me 2 years of learning how to do self-care for 5 years, which was no accident. So yeah, when I look at the alignment, like, oh, that was pretty cool. So yeah.
A question. So I got thrown off a little bit on the terms of mental magnetic state and vibration. I went to physiological, vibration, and I think it's all together. It could be the vibration that might occur from your actions, but then I went to physical. We changed the chemistry in our brains and our bodies. Is that believed by this author?
Well, what he's talking about there in terms of that it's your vibration is what you are projecting with your thoughts, with your mind. And so therefore it can have an effect on your physical being, which is, he mentions that in one of the lessons there. It definitely can have an effect on that. And then it has an effect in every part of your life, because, what are your thoughts projecting? What are you sending out there? What vibration? The vibration is, again, is it positive or negative? Because that's the vibratory power that you have. And you can punish yourself with a negative vibration, or you can bless yourself with a positive vibration, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think I'm going back and forth though between physical, maybe the word magnetic, and I'm thinking of maybe my, just a magnetic connection of physical, but is it really a spiritual magnetic connection in the vibration? But I think that both are true. At least that's where I'm at right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely areas where Hamid Bey talks about controlling the health of your body through mental techniques. So a lot of this, it starts in the mind, it starts in a spiritual dimension, but then it becomes physical. So the two are very closely related to each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
And everything happens on the physical or on the spiritual level. Typically, the physical manifestation of whatever is the end result, but it's ultimately it's happening, or it's always transforming or coming to be on the spiritual. Ultimately, and usually in the physical, like I said, is just the end result.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I guess I just needed affirmation from others here on merging the two, the physical and the spiritual. And, I can know from having asthma and not breathing properly sometimes, and then the anxiety and looking back in years, it's like the crazy thoughts that come from the asthma anxiety. But when you get it in control, how you can redirect it in your life is different. So I'm merging like the physical, mental, magnetic state. I'm just using the words that I heard, and vibration, and I'm relating it to physical and spiritual.
If you're not connected on the spiritual level, vibrationally wise, it's my belief that ultimately that's going to manifest in a negative vibration in the physical. Could be a mental, physical disease or something. I often tell people everything in life, in the end, it shows you how much, it's not about whether somebody else loves you or cares about you. Everything in the end will show you how much you love or don't love yourself by the choices you make and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And if we come from love, so we are love, and if we're not loving ourselves in the physical domain, that's going to cause a lot of havoc in our lives, unfortunately. Because it's a lower vibration if we're not in that energy of love.
Yeah. Okay.
Jean, you weren't here when I said, I told them before, because of COVID, I started doing regular daily meditation. I used to do it years ago in the 90s and I stopped and I started it again. And I had a pinched nerve in my spine. And for a long time, I could not lift my left leg without I'd have to use my right leg to lead and my left leg would follow. When my meditation, I do get a vibration that I feel. It's I don't know, it's electrical, maybe it's magnetic, but I visualize that that leg is working, and I've had a lipoma in the base of the spine, and that the lipoma is disappearing. And I now can go up steps leading with my left leg since I've been doing this. And I do feel an actual, it's a combination of spiritual, physical. I feel like I'm in an altered state when I'm meditating sometimes.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
And that it isn't an accident, maybe, that COVID happened, so I would get into my meditation again, which I should have been doing all along.
Yeah.
But what it coulda, shoulda doesn't help any. It's just do it now.
Yeah. Good. I need to hear that. That's nice.
If you look at some of there is no accidents of things in our lives that it's like, why did I do that? You know, and you try not to create karma with other people or in your life. Part of the accidents, there is no accident of learning something from doing something that creates karma, but let's touch on how to resolve the karma that we might create from a lesson we've learned since there is no accidents. I guess it's a way of diffusing it through your thoughts, your energy to project light and love towards other people that you might have created a karmic issue with. I'm trying to keep it in generalities because I don't have anything specific to touch on, but how do you diffuse the karma to create, instead of coming back and doing it again? We're all here to learn the lessons, but how do you dissolve the karma that we created in this lifetime so we don't have to come back and do it again? Even though it might have been projected towards another soul or being or person.
You can release all of that negativity, the karma, whatever you want to call it, by understanding that you are part of God, you are love, and so is everyone else. So in releasing that, he did that to me, you did that to me, you know, that sort of negative thoughts that would go through our minds. Or I did that to myself, I'm so terrible, you know, because we even can not love ourselves. It's about loving ourselves and loving everyone else. And that releases all of it, and it's gone.
And I think two of the tools to use in that are forgiveness of other people and yourself, and gratitude, being thankful for that experience and for the ability to change it and have that love.
That's part of the meditation, is to be thankful and grateful for the help and visualizing. I am so thankful. I am so grateful for all that I have. But I don't know if I would have gotten back to my daily meditations without COVID. So, what looks like a bad situation to everybody else, for me, has turned me into a better person, a more spiritual person. And for me, I think it's benefited me, the fact that I've had to be at home and not running around all the time doing other things. And
I
I'm
think
very
that's-
thankful for all of you. I got reconnected with my Coptic family because of COVID. Everything is now on Zoom, where I'm in Ohio, so I wouldn't be with you today if COVID hadn't happened and the Zoom setting wasn't available. So what looks bad for some people looks good for some people.
Let me just jump in for a minute, Michael. You made me think of something a couple of years ago. There was a Thursday I drove home and just kind of in my mind thought, oh, I'd like a different car. My car was sounding funny. Saturday night, we're driving back from a gathering, 10:30 at night on Alpine Street, and I see a car weaving, and sure enough, the drunk driver, not only he hit the car that was ready to turn into Taco Bell, and the young boys came at us head on. So our car was totaled. Now, I didn't even tell David I was thinking of getting a new car, so I wasn't really even attached to the fact I have just lost my car. But karmically, it's interesting to think about that particular driver in the pickup truck, you could see it. I just let it go completely. I didn't get involved. I never even learned his name. I could see by the intake that he was drunk, that he was being taken care of. And, I got a brand new car insurance worked out very nicely. I met a really cool chiropractor, but but the miracle, when we went to take the stuff out of the car, the woman looked at us and you can't tell me you were driving that car. So she has seen many totaled cars and could not believe that we were standing intact, maybe, a couple of bruises on her neck. But so the miracle was, because as you wait for that impact for a moment, I was very calm, thinking, I hope this isn't going to hurt a lot. But it could have been the moment that we died. But it was a very cool accident. So I love my new car. But yeah, I'm going through, I feel bad, Michael. Thank you that I, brought these people into my life. The boys I got sandwiched in between us, they appeared to be okay also. But yeah, weird accident. So now I'm very careful to manifest something new.
Yeah, I call situations like that an opportunity to upgrade. When something
There you
breaks
go.
down, you've got an opportunity to upgrade.
I'm going to be more specific next time.
She had, he worked with a guy who buys cars in an auction. And she pretty much told him the color she wanted, and one of the main things she wanted, heated seats.
And I could afford it. Those are my three.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
color.
several times when he found the car, he said to us, I've never seen something come to bear. He found exactly what she wanted.
He literally walked into the auction that day. He saw the car, which is blue like your background, Lori. And he said, Therese, I knew that was your car.
Yeah.
And just like that, he bought it for us.
He said he never, in all the years he's been doing it, he never had instantaneously. He was like, there it is.
Yeah, we'd hung up the phone and I said, well, I wish you would go to the auction for me. And just like that, he found it. So it's pretty cool.
That's a roundabout way for a divine flow of energy to move in the right direction for you. That's incredible.
Yeah, thinking of the miracles in it and the how many people were involved in it. You made me think of, So thank you, Lori and Mike, for that. It was interesting.
Thank you, Janice, too, for chiming in. I appreciate that. And added some clarity to what I was looking to have answers for. So, any other questions for Lori? I love your background, Lori. It's awesome. I feel like I'm gazing at the
It's from that movie.
Oh, I wondered how you got that, the saying on the background.
No, it's from that movie, the Kung Fu Panda movie.
Uh,
So it was a good, very nice presentation, Laurie.
very nice.
yes. And Rose, both of you, thank you for picking out that. It was excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you all.
And,
Have a good week.